Death is the most certain thing in life, yet the question of what follows it is one of the most debated questions in history. Each religion carries its own interpretation and attempts to demystify a question that has shaped lives, cultures, and societies. Curious about death myself, I sought answers from 6 different religions in an attempt to piece together what happens after.
So I'm a Presbyterian minister, which means that we are one part of the larger Christian church.
My entire life, I've always thought that the belief in God just didn't make sense to me.
My root is in Soto Zen Buddhism.
I'm an Imam representative.
I have no personal connection in the sense that I'm not a Hindu, but I grew up in the Hindu world.
You're talking to a chassid, a Hasidic rabbi, and I'm a part of the Chabad movement. And we focus on trying to understand deeply the mystical teachings of Judaism.
We believe that we are reunited with God after we die. Like some people believe like you are physically reunited in some kind of space. Others believe it's more of a spiritual unity with other people. Our tradition says that you have been promised to be reunited with God after death already. So now you live in gratitude to that. We do believe in this understanding of a hell or of a place of despair, but we also believe that everybody has been given the gift of heaven.
I feel very comfortable with this belief now, and it really is that whole circle of life concept. I feel really happy that when I die, my organic body just becomes a part of the earth again.
After one dies, there's a transition period in which one's energy, one's karma, one's activity is looking for the right place to be reborn. And then after 49 days, you find a suitable womb to be located in.
There are 2 parts to a human being. There's the soul and there's the body. The soul is a part of God. It's a spark of godliness. And that is eternal. Just as God is eternal, the soul is eternal. The soul always lived and always will live. After the body dies, the soul then goes back to a spiritual place and continues to live.
The life of the mankind, it is 2 things. There is body and there is a spirit. When the death, happened, it's happened for the body, but the spirit or the soul, it will not die. Both of them, the spirit and the body, it is a giving of the Creator, of Allah. Death, it is not the end of the life of the mankind, but death, it is a transition from one life to another kind or type of life. The spirit is still there. The other life, either it will be a punishment or it will be, enjoyment. It depends on what we implanted here in this life. It depends on how we end our life, based on our intention and repentance to Allah.
Hindus believe that you can be born again and again until you are able to work out whatever transgressions you have made in this life. It's as simple as that, yeah. There is rebirth.
Do you agree with this?
Well, I would like to believe, because none of us, get it right the first time, I think.
In my life, I try to live as if I'm giving thanks to something.
There's a notion of karma and rebirth. Karma means volitional activity. The idea is that conditions how you are reborn in successive lives. In what I've gathered from my own teachers, the concern is not so much for the afterlife as for your life here. And if you live your life here according to wholesome principles, then if there's an afterlife, it takes care of itself.
We can make all of our life to be like, a preparation for what coming after.
Hinduism is actually very interesting and has also shaped my life, is that you believe all sentient beings have value. Of course, I grew up in a world where animals were manifestations of the divine. You look at all living beings as something that you should be responsible for. The whole idea that all life forms are sentient, all are sacred, makes you value life.
To me, Judaism is about living every day with Judaism. Judaism also teaches us about how to behave towards other people, how to be kind to people, and how to be responsible. And I try to incorporate that every day in my life, in addition to the fact that it's my job. The reason that we're here is in order to bring light to the world. And to put it another way, to connect the spiritual with the physical, to bring God's presence, so to speak, into the world and be felt in the world. And that's what we focus on. We don't focus so much on the afterlife. So I want to live the next world in this world. I want to recognize my soul and kind of bring it to life and connect with it. So in a way, I'm connecting with the world, with the afterlife, every moment of my life.
Problem is, if I have a set of beliefs and you have a set of beliefs and they have contradictions, are we going to kill each other over those beliefs? Which seems to me the most terrible thing. It's like we'd like to unload the responsibility that we have for our own lives.
Well, because I think none of us want to really believe that this is all there is.
There's no definitive answer, and it's people choosing to believe in something. And I think in a lot of times we as a society aren't able to really embrace difference.
Our genetic makeup is not identical to anybody else. Our brains don't think identical to anybody else. So I really do believe that every single person on the planet has just a little different view, regardless of what they call themselves, of what life after death might be.
People feel like everything has to be proven. Nobody's come back from there to tell us what it's like. If there's an afterlife, it means there's a soul. It means it implies a creator, which then implies a purpose for life, which then implies a responsibility. And it's much easier to live without the sense of responsibility.
I think people think that Presbyterians and sometimes Christians, we're all just really rigid. Most of us, that's not who we are. It blesses same-sex marriage. I can perform them. But I think in many ways that part of progressive Christianity doesn't often get as much airtime as some of the more rigid, I think hate-filled versions of Christianity.
People believe in general that Hindus are very full of superstition and that Hindu belief systems have no basis. For Western world has the very strong idea that these people are full of nonsensical belief systems. What they don't realize is that these are ways in which societies dealt with the environments and the times that they were living in.
It's a very, very severe religion. It's not severe at all. When you're in touch with a higher purpose, it's not, you don't feel denied.
If you're an atheist, well, then you can't be a good person. Well, of course you can. Believing in God has nothing to do with are you a good person. Because we all know that there are people that have committed heinous crimes that are very religious people.
What I want here to clarify is, if anybody, he's Muslim or she Muslim, but did something bad, it doesn't mean that Islam is bad. The person himself. The core word for Islam is salam. What's salam? Is peace. People just, it's enough and sufficient for them, just the surface knowledge. They don't dig, and they don't want to spend some effort to clarify and to make sure that this is really because of Islam teaching, or this is because the person himself is bad.
After hearing the interpretations, the reality behind death is still a mystery to me. But life is a little less of one.